Once again, I'm Alex Strizak, and this is my Week 2 Multimedia Discussion Board presentation for MPA 510. And for this presentation, I really wanted to focus on two management and administrative theories that I feel are used the most today still, and take a look at them, how they're applied today in real life, and which one I think still works today and which one needs to be updated. So the first administrative theory I really wanted to look at was the integration theory that was proposed by Mary Parker Follett. And I find this theory to be one that I am currently working in. I feel it's one that I've actually worked in a long time if you involve sports. What I really feel about this one is that it takes into account how power should be evenly distributed through the organization as a whole, and people should have responsibility for what they're working on, but they should also have the chance and opportunities to get to personally know their coworkers better and to better connect with their coworkers through discussions, whether it be personal discussions, work discussions. But I know from personal experience, I've always been one that would rather have more of a social lunch with my coworkers, whether it be talking about work or not, and just getting to know each other better. And I mentioned that there are real ties to the distribution of power throughout the whole organization, and I feel that this integration theory really ties closely with the Constitution, and that the power is distributed out through the people, through federal government, and there's also the Bill of Rights with the Constitution, and we have checks and balances and all these different ways of making sure that the power is evenly distributed as much as possible throughout our country and our organization. So let's see how the integration theory by Mary Parker Follett would be applied today. A man or woman gets interviewed for a job opening and they get the job. The first thing that they're introduced to at the office is other employees, and the way the business or the organization is set up is that the other employees begin to ask background questions about where he or she grew up, how they got to this point of their career, and what they're looking to do in the future. They let them know that this organization is one that works together to problem solve, and that you shouldn't be afraid to ask for help, and that the power, there isn't a per se power listing where one person wouldn't be allowed to talk to another or vice versa. So they let them know that teamwork is important, and communication and getting to know each other is important, and that don't feel like there isn't an opportunity where you can't step in and help the company or organization. They also bring up what one of my favorite things is they have a social get-together at lunchtime to talk about what's going on, whether it be work-related or non-work related, but this is a time to decompress and get to talk to each other as more than just employees, but also as individuals. So now let's compare this theory to the other one I wanted to talk about, which is the bureaucratic theory that's brought up by Max Weber. So this theory is it's very contradictory of the previous one by Follett. This one, if we are to look to a new employee for our organization, the person would have to have success in the field we're looking to apply them to, previous experience in that field that has shown success, and they would have to be able to follow the rules of our organization. Because of the bureaucratic theory of Max Weber, a new employee who would come in would be given a list of rules to follow right away, so we'd have to hire someone that knew and was able to follow rules. And they also wouldn't be a distraction with personal information. In this theory, the idea is to keep it impersonal in the workplace. You shouldn't get to know another employee past what you will need to do to get the job done. So now let's apply the bureaucratic theory by Max Weber to today. So take the same man or woman that was just interviewed for the job before in our example, and they're interviewed and get the job at a firm that's running a bureaucratic theory system. So the first thing is we know this person is probably already an expert in their field or is very successful in their field in the past. They're also, when they're introduced to the new staff members, not going to share their background to the point of where they grew up, what their favorite movie was that they saw recently, what they want to do next weekend. It's going to be all work and all work discussions. They're also going to have some sort of handbook or manual, some sort of logged, I would call it a manual still, of how to do the job that they're filling in now at this organization. Because they're using a bureaucratic theory, they would have a way of documenting how each job should be run, so that when one employee leaves, they're able to replace it, and that employee can pick up the manual and do the job just as it was doing before. And this is where I thought that this theory needed to be updated a little bit, because especially in the work environment I'm lucky enough to work in right now, in my opinion, where we do get to know each other very well, and I think it makes our work more quality, and we assist each other more when we need help. We're not afraid to ask. If I were in this type of working environment, I'd feel like I'm on my own little island out there, like this guy in the cubicle. So in conclusion, I am definitely a big fan of the Mary Parker Follett integration theory, as I feel it can bring work bonds closer and can lead to more quality work because you're getting assistance from your coworkers. You're also assisting your coworkers, and I feel that can help you develop other skills. I feel like it can expose you to more opportunities, and I think also growing up playing sports, being a part of a team is a mentality I've always had, and that everyone contributes to the team at their own position. Say a second baseman will have a different role on a team than the center fielder. The second baseman is going to be more responsible for turning double plays and working and communicating with the shortstop, while the center fielder is going to be more responsible for catching fly balls and communicating with the left and right fielder. But it is still a team, and we're all working to the end goal of winning the game. And that's just versus the bureaucratic theory of Max Weber, which I feel like it's trying to take almost the face off the employee, and where they can lose an employee and that another person can come in and just do the same exact job, and it's almost like they never left. That can be useful, but I also think that being stationary may not lead to progression. So I think the team building can lead to higher standards and higher execution and higher results. And because of this thought, I would suggest that the bureaucratic theory take into account how, especially with social media and how technology has connected us so much more, I think the bureaucratic theory should adjust to take into account how much more personable and how much more connected we are with the individuals around us.